Welcome to another opportunity to learn how to keep it simple in Photoshop. Tonight I'm going to be editing a photo of Bendie Barbie. She's adorable and so much fun to photograph. As I'm sure you're aware, if you're familiar with my photography, I have to look long and hard to find images that I'm able to Photoshop and share on social media like YouTube. I found this one of Bendie and it's adorable. I like her little Mona Lisa smile, and let's jump in. First thing when I look at this image is that I know that I want her face lighter and I want her chest darker. So what I'll probably do just to get started is I will jump in with my burning tool, set it to 8%, and see what it looks like if I can just darken this down just a tiny bit. Oh, fantastic. Oh, that did it great. Okay, that was a lucky guess. All right, the other thing that is a little bit troubling to me is the really yellow color at the top that I think on the top of her head that I'd like to have just a little bit closer to the rest of her hair. Just personal preference. I'm not a fashion guy, so it's not a fashion statement. It's just, that's just how I like it. Also, I think I'd like the top to be just a little lighter. There we go. Awesome. All right. Now I can see down here on her arm and her waist that I'd like to do a little liquefy there to bring her arm up just a little bit, just a tiny smidge, just a little bit. So let's get the brush out. And now when you don't just push in like this. That doesn't look so good. Plus it does a lot of work over here on the side of her waist. So let me get back out of there. Big brush and kind of up and in just a little bit. Up and in. Same over here. Up and in. There we go. And then right here, whoops, right here we're going to bring that down just a little bit. And keep that together. And there we go. Just a little bit of pushing and pulling there. All right, let's see how that looks. Much better. Over here, I know her arm's there, and that's, hiding that part that would keep this off of social media. But let's go in and just add a tiniest bit of curve right here, like her breast is pushing back a little bit. There we go. And now, as I've told you before, I have no secrets, so I'll show you all my shortcuts that I have. And one of them on a photo like this is to go into my Portrait Pro. I know I've done this before, but I like this software. Generally, it does a great job. It does take a little bit of time because each thing you're doing is, moving a lot of parts in the image, so it does take a little bit of time, so bear with me here. So I like to work in the before and after, and I can get really obsessive about putting these lines in all the right places. You don't have to go crazy. I probably spend too much time making it just perfect. Every time you move one of these lines, it takes a little bit of time. I'm sure I could get a faster computer, but you know what? It wasn't just a couple years ago. This is the fastest laptop on the market. But this app does take a little bit of time. But once you get these all set in the right spots, it's gonna speed up the rest of the process. So like I said, I'll show you everything that I do, including my shortcuts, and I consider this app to be a shortcut. Well, this doesn't feel very short, does it? This is the most tedious part of using it. And this is the outside of her nostril on the other side of her, on the right side of her nose. This is the part that goes right under here, and then grab here. That looks pretty good. I know some of these adjustments I'm doing probably aren't making that much of a difference, but I struggle with trying to do things less than perfect. So that's what I'm doing here. And we can bring this in a little bit. Straighten that up. Bring this in. There we go. I think this should come down here a little bit too. We imagine where her jawline is. There we go. Nudge that one more time. Okay, that's all done. Here we can see the sculpting that it's wanting to do before and after. Now, I don't use this very heavy, this face sculpt. You can see it's all the way down here. When you first start using this app, by the way, it's probably going to want to start up in here. And then you can see when you turn it on and off, that makes a much bigger difference. And to me, that's noticeable. And I like things to be very subtle. So generally, I'll come down here to about 12. Very, very minor differences. And let's see. Yeah, that's pretty happy with that. Then we go to skin smoothing. This mask shows you where it's being applied. I always remove it. And again, this is a tedious thing to do, but I always remove it. Off of eyebrows, eyelashes, around the eye. Make sure it's not touching any of the eye. Last thing I want in a portrait or, even anyone's face are, soft eyes. I like them to be clear and not having any kind of softening effect on them. Then I like to extend over the chin here. I don't really see a difference from doing this or not doing it, but I guess I prefer it. And we'll do this. I would just encourage you, if you do get this software, that you just try to do very light effects on your using of the filter. Back it up, do it softly, don't go heavy. There we go. Now we're back in her face. We can do a little bit more around her eyes. You can pump that up here. There we go. Come down here. I put the details down. I want to take the details away. You know, usually 20, 22 is fine. Sometimes it's quicker just to sorry guys. See this I don't know why that moves so slow. Boy, I am sorry. I don't know what's happening here. Okay, there we go. Spot removal, low sensitivity. Once in a while, that software does that. If it happens to you, don't get too frustrated. Oh, skin lighting and coloring. We can see before, after, before. This is with it being applied. I like to back out on the image to see whether or not I'm liking the effect of the... Yes, definitely. Definitely an improvement. We can make the light source a little bit bigger. That looks fabulous. I like it. Sometimes you have to play with that even more, but this time it worked perfectly first attempt. Her eyes. Let me zoom in here. Oh, it's doing a really wonderful job with her eyes too. Sometimes you got to spend a little time in there adjusting things, but no, not this time. Sometimes I'll go in and pull out the irises. I'll pull out the whoops, not makeup. Sorry. I'll take out the darken pupil size, darken pupil. I'll pull that out, but I think in this image it worked perfectly in the auto mode. Then I just turn this on and off and see if I like what it does to her lips. Makes them a little bit darker. I think we'll leave them light. This doesn't really do much for the hair. I've never really played with that much. And then we can see with this on, it makes it a little bit bluer. With it off, which it's off right now, it makes it a little bit warmer. There we go. I'm done. I know that took a long time. I'll try to go quicker for the rest. Alrighty. There we go. And I'm sure you've already seen that this area right in here got a little dirty makeup spot. So I just use that quick little healing brush and clean up the spots. Any little miscellaneous acne, nose hairs. I shouldn't say that out loud, huh? Nose hairs. Nobody wants to have nose hairs. You don't really notice them until they're blown up on your screen, 5 times as big as the person's face. And take out the little veins. Still using the healing brush. I'm going to use the stamp tool here, clone tool, and just, there we go. And I'd like to just lighten that up a little bit. We can help her with her eyebrows here. That's back to the healing brush. And check her forehead for other stray hairs or marks that you want to remove. Bendie Barbie is a very pretty woman. Very fun to photograph. She's an amazing pole artist as well. I've had the opportunity to photograph her doing some pole work, and she's amazing. Okay. One last thing that I like to do, I'm going to leave this here. I like to go in with the highlights into the eye, and then just try to pull up those highlights right there. I do it equally on each side. And I like that. That looks good. This area right here is bothering me just a little bit, so I'll grab that patch tool and I'll do that. I'll just grab it and pull it down. This is kind of like sculpture work now. Just kind of redo that part of her face. We can use the clone tool at 38%. Just make a selection here and just kind of soften that a little bit. Generally, I like to soften around that little smiling line. And we can go up in here with the clone tool at 38%. Looks like I did that twice, huh? Anything else we want to get rid of? Patch tool. You see, I don't make this very complicated. I've been very happy with the results that I get by doing this. This is the clone. Patch tool again. I prefer it over the clone tool because the clone tool, in doing big spots like this, the skin starts to look plastic, and I don't want to do that. I just want to remove the distractions. There we go. Okay, guys. I think that's it. I like to leave her hair messy. I like the just got out of bed look personally, and I don't want to make her hair look too nice because that'll then it starts to look a little bit more like glamour instead of. Whoa, sorry, wrong tool. You saw there I had selected the burn tool when really I wanted to use the midtones. I just want to do a 5% kind of down through the middle of her face like that again. There we go. I mean, really, I'm pretty much done. And then I like to go in with the burn tool, set it about 22. Just burn in the background a little bit, help bring her forward in the image. That's it. I like it. One last thing you can do in the highlights, set it very low, especially on light colored hair like this, but you can go in and just kind of brighten up her hair a little bit. The highlights, not the whole thing, not the midtones, just the highlights. There we go, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you guys are having a